We're doing things a little different tonight to accommodate scheduling, which is all good. So we are going to start our Hills Have Eyes Q&A. And I'd
All
like
right.
to introduce our guests first. She is known in the film as Ruby Flatfoot. I'd go with the Indian name, why not? Janus Blythe. How are you doing, Janice?
Great. What's my Indian name?
I said Ruby Flatfoot.
Flatfoot. Oh,
Yeah, since the whole running and that story.
yeah.
And our other guest of honor is Mr. Michael Berryman, who was known as Pluto. And I do want to mention as well, because Michael has it with him, he has his new memoir that is available Amazon and all your different spots. So I will start here before we take any kind of questions from the fans. Uh, I know I asked prior when he came on, but Michael, how's the book been? The response?
Well, I've been. I'll just be. I'm a pretty straight talking guy. Had a.
And that's what I love about you, since dealing
Yeah,
with you.
let's tell it like it is. Had a literary agent for about a year, and um, we and I had a co-writer, which was a helpful fellow. We put it in chapters, and then after about 10 months, I said, well, this is it. And they go, no, it's not enough. It's not enough. We want to know all about every movie you did. Where do you live? Where'd you meet your wife? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, it's a memoir. It's a memoir about a little boy. That little boy is me before I had skull surgery after my father came home from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So it's about his life. It's a memoir. And I said, in a second book, I'll write all about the movies and stuff like that. And they said, you're making a big mistake now. And then it would go to the reviewers and then they do a thumbs up or thumbs down. Well, I didn't want to spend any more money and I didn't want to waste any more of my lifetime. I already spent a year. So everybody, I've been pushing it at conventions and some various talk shows and podcasts, and everybody that's read it loves it. So thank you everybody for going on TikTok and Facebook pages and doing an honest review. So it's about a boy and relationship with his family, especially his father. And that's my story. I tell it my way. I'm stubborn. Yeah, too bad. Deal with it.
That's you, Michael.
It's all good. You get it at Barnes and Noble soon. But right now, it's available on Amazon, hardback, paperback, and Kindle download. And thank you everybody for supporting me because I didn't win the lottery, and I'm hoping this would be our lottery. Hey, I'm 74. What are you gonna do?
And it was funny. I'll mention this because I saw Michael in Lexington back in October, and he was dealing with some of that with the publisher and all that kind of stuff and doing some stuff personally, moving, all that. And I was telling Janice this when we had our conversation. It's like when I went to check into the hotel, who do I see sitting in the lobby but Michael? And obviously Michael's been associated with us before, regular guest, our children's hospital event, all that fun stuff. So I go over, say hello and all. And next thing I know, as the fans know, Michael is very intellectual and just a great person to sit and talk with. Next thing I know, it's a half hour later. Yeah, we were talking current events with the news, what's going on with the book. It's like next thing you know, it's 30, 40 minutes later. It's like, holy cow, you just get so deep into the conversations, which was awesome. And I appreciate his straightforward and candidness. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Right back at you. That's what I find engaging. I'm really happy that the woke generation is being replaced because I talked to a lot of families at conventions and they're generational, 3, 4, 5 generations. And the youngest group now, they're not woke. They're somebody, I forget the term, but they're a little more sensible. I mean, in my book, I talked about being raised, looking different, having disabilities. I had friends with polio and other situations, and we all have stuff to deal with. So this political correctness is like, I know people that have lost their livelihood because they said a wrong word. Somebody took it wrong. Chris Rock had a really good live show on last night. I watched it. It was honest and brilliant. I liked Bill Maher. I just appreciate people that can, straight talk is what it is, because that's what brings people together. We need people
Yes,
that
the
grassroots,
Netflix special.
family first, always.
Yes. So
Take some-
since we are limited with a half hour, I'm going to open up the floor for questions. I know Mr. Young, our friend from Buffalo, is a film historian and historian in general. So I'd like to start with you because I just know you well enough to know you got some good stuff. So the floor is yours, sir, to ask questions of our guests.
Like I was saying before we started recording, I became a horror film fanatic, lifelong horror buff, and it was thanks in large part to The Hills Have Eyes. I was far too young to be watching it, probably, at a sleepover party when I was in grade school with the first person who had a VCR. And we were in the house, and his parents had rented some, movies for the kids to watch. And when the parents went to bed, the guy who owned the house reached into his sleeping bag and pulled out this videotape that he had hidden called The Hills Have Eyes. And he put it on, and you scared the hell out of everybody in that room, except me, who was just drawn to it and so fascinated and just so intrigued. And it was a life-changing experience for me as a young man who became a film historian and a film buff, in large part to you. The amazing is you worked with, a man like Wes Craven, who was a young filmmaker at the time. And my question for both Michael and Janus is, even though he was so young and inexperienced, had only done a couple projects, did you realize at the time that you were working with someone who was that special, that would go on to such great things, that would actually change a genre?
Ladies first, go, Jonas.
Well, no. Honestly,
No, I'd have to say no. He had done Last House on the Left, so I knew David very well, and it's kind of a tough movie to watch.
Very.
And we were just happy to have a SAG contract and
yes.
run around the desert and not get bitten by a rattlesnake.
Speaking of the snake, the most friendly snake in the world, right, Michael?
It was a Mojave Green. There's a little place called Lucerne Valley, east of Apple Valley, where we filmed, and it's really a tumbleweed connection. There's sketchy people and retirees, and we needed a rattlesnake, so they went to the local saloon and says, "Hey, we're doing a low budget movie out in the desert. We need a snake." The guy goes, "Oh, I've got one." Now this is a very sketchy saloon, and he goes, "It was his pet. Got loose one day during lunch, Janus, remember?"
Yes, oh yes. Everybody was gone. Up the hill.
Mojave Green, as deadly as a cobra.
Wow. And Janus,
Yeah.
you had just worked with Tobe Hooper as well, another classic of the genre. Were you you made these great directors great, by the way. It's because of you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Breaking up, Captain.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Don't forget to share the floor with others.
Yeah. I just wanted to say you just worked with Tobe Hooper as well, and you made these great directors' careers. I think you were responsible for that. And
Thank you.
thank you again. And I passed the mic.
Okay, Tommy, you said you wanted to come up, so you're next, sir.
Great. Is my microphone working?
Yeah, we got you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, first of all, Ms. Blythe, I want to say that, as a kid watching your movies, but especially Hills Have Eyes, I fell in love with Ruby. I just, if I was to picture myself in that scenario, I would have just chased after you the whole movie. So, and Mr. Berryman, I want to, you have you've been an icon in like all the films I watched when I was younger. And actually, to see you pop up in a Star Trek film was so great. And you know, for some reason, I always had in my memory that it was the first Star Trek film, but it wasn't. It was later on in was it the fifth one? Did I lose him?
Michael?
Okay. I was in The Voyage Home.
It was
number
the
4,
Voyage. Okay, it was the fourth one.
directed by Leonard.
And that must have been quite. So it was so great seeing you there because I was like, oh my gosh, that's Michael Berryman. And but I don't want to hog up a lot of time. I had a question about Hills of Ice Part 2, but I want to say I'm going to be at New Jersey Horror Con, and I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'll have my wolf dog Spirit with me, and I know you're close to wolves and such, right? That's a love of yours.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, so you have a fondness for wolves? I remember reading.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes, I lived at a wolf sanctuary for a number of years, been affiliated with them for decades. We actually had the President Gerald Ford come by and visit to see the wolves. It was quite a treat. We had 2 wolf pups. We were getting ready to turn over to Fish and Game, and they were going to release them in the Yellowstone reintroduction program. So we being Tanya Carloni, the founder of the sanctuary, and we would feed them raw meat or mouth to mouth. We were their hairless parents. We'd take naps in the dirt with them, and we kept them away from people, made them fearful of guns, airplanes, anything mechanical. So they would, avoid people and persevere. So I'm a big fan. I went to veterinary college for 2 years, but my hands aren't facile enough to do surgeries. I mentioned that in my memoir. But the bottom line is, I like to go back to home base, and for me, one of the home bases is the Whole Earth catalog. If you look at the Whole Earth catalog, which has been around for decades, on the front cover is a picture of planet Earth, and on the back is the other half of planet Earth. The most significant picture I think we should ever consider is the first time we see the blue spirit from outer space. So that is our home. That is our home, and if we don't take care of that, then a mother means nothing. So bells and whistles don't really toot your horn when you have no wind in your lungs. You know what I mean?
Well, I run a struggling husky and wolf dog sanctuary here in New Jersey. So I'll be at the show. I'll be at the show with. Oh, it's come through. I'm doubling. I'll be at the show with my dog Spirit, and I'll have a
Cool.
for this weird little film project I'm working on. So I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'll be there all 3 days too.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jonathan?
there's nothing more tranquil than for me than either surfing in the ocean or being out in the forest. That's where I like to hang out most of the time.
Oh, great.
Jonathan? Jonathan?
Yes, ma'am.
A girl keeps popping up on my screen. I don't know who she is.
No, she's just part of the audience. It's fine.
Oh, it's the same
Yeah.
person though. Okay.
Yes, it's the same person. Yeah, that's Jody. It's no big deal.
Hi. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know how
No,
it's
it's
my first
whenever
time,
you hit
sorry,
pick up.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, whenever the audio picks up, it's fine. No, it's all good, Janice.
Okay.
No worries. I do want to ask, because I know Aaron said he had a question, so I want to give him a minute. But I'm curious to know, since we're talking Hills Have Eyes, Michael and Janice, when did you guys connect? Because from what I understand, you guys have had a personal friendship, I should say, and a professional relationship since the movie. So when did you guys actually connect?
It was on the location, wasn't it, Michael?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. He's my brother, and we just instantly bonded.
Well, yeah, it was a tough shoot. There was no crybabies. Everybody went to work. When it got too hot for me, I'd jump in the trailer with the AC. We helped everybody. We had a few mishaps. Well, the snake got loose one day, but when the mother got shot, when she fell back into the couch in the trailer, her squib explosive device actually moved up and it removed her nipple.
Yeah.
She actually got seriously injured. And then when I'm taking advantage of Susan Lanier, Brenda, and Mars pulls me off, that actually well, it was a handheld shot, so it was real tight. So we had to move in syncopation. So when I moved back, I hit my back of my head on the metal lens ring, and it cut back my head. And our Eric, our our DP, he had a black eye. You know, things happen, but you know, that's showbiz. What are you gonna do?
Remember the jumping cactus? That cactus
yeah.
that jumps when you walk by?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we did Hills 2, we were staying at a motel, and you know, and for landscaping, they had choyo cactus, which is stupid. My dog Nishka, German Shepherd, actually bumped into it, turned around, thought she was being bit by an animal, and got the choyo cactus down her tongue and in her mouth. So we had to rush her to the hospital. She was okay, but it was rough and tumble. It was 16 millimeter. It almost disappeared. There was a restoration effort when they wanted to put it on a DVD, because the film was deteriorating, and so they put the word out, and I think Barry Kahn and Peter Locke put somebody on a plane to fly out, maybe to Tennessee, Kentucky, to a drive-in underneath the screen where it's cool and the humidity is just right. And the guy says, "Hey, I found a film can of Hills Have Eyes. It was pristine." That's what allowed it to become in a DVD form.
Well, I didn't know that. That's great.
And you know what's interesting? We just hosted a horror trivia contest about a month ago that I'm still trying to edit. And it's interesting Michael brings that up, because there was and I can't remember the name of the type of film it was, but it was the original Jaws that was filmed on a special or a different style of film that they were using at the time. But well, when they thought, oh, great, this is innovative, this is that. And Brian might even notice, being a historian, ends up what they filmed on was something that would deteriorate quickly. It starts with a T, and I will mention it on social media. I can easily look it up, but it was just interesting that made me think of that when Michael brought that up. But Aaron, you ready for your question, sir?
Aaron?
Yes, I am. I
He's
just
here.
have to unmute and turn the video on. Awesome. Hi, Michael and Janice. This is great.
Hello.
Hello.
And Jonathan, thank you for hosting this. This is very
Of
cool.
course. Welcome back, sir.
Yes, happy to be here. So I have a couple questions. The first one is, when you were filming the movie, did you ever realize that it would have such longevity, and even go on to have remakes? And my second question is, what is your favorite memory from filming the movie? And before I do that, I wanted to, Michael, you mentioned the DVD, but there's actually a 4K edition out now. Arrow released a 4K edition, which I haven't watched yet, but I can't wait to check it out in 4K. I bet it looks really awesome.
Got a nice booklet in it also. It did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can see I haven't opened it yet. I only open my movies when I'm about to watch them, but yes, very cool. So yeah,
Good question.
longevity
You know,
and
When you do a movie, you have no idea what's going to happen to it. You don't. There's no way, oh, this movie's going to become an icon. This movie's going to go on forever. You had no. You just do a movie because you want to work as an actor, right, Michael? You want to work.
That's
And
right.
I had the choice of doing TNA movies or these horror films, and they required acting. If Michael and I weren't real, if you didn't believe us, the movie would fail. So that was challenging for me. And I loved doing them.
I remember when we were filming the original, and Janice is chewing on the dog's leg. She spits out the meat. That was pretty cool. That was actually, I think, a pork roast that they had cut down to the bone and shoved it in the prosthetic arm. We had bills to pay. We had, when you do a film and you're starting out in the industry like Janus and I were back in the 70s, you tell whoever you're working for, you're going, I got to be gone for a couple of weeks. I'm going to do a movie. And they go, okay, well, you won't have a job when you get home. I mean, that's just the way it is, and until you get, until you can bridge the gap in between other part-time jobs. I've had so many odd jobs, most actors do. Now, I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. But one day I saw a full-page LA Times ad for the poster of The Hills Have Eyes. Now, I remember when we were in post-production, Peter Locke says, hey, we were going to have Papa Jupiter be the poster boy, but every time we were late getting back to the motel, he would call SAG and everybody would get a bump, which is contractually allowable and fine, but they got a little miffed. And then I had some surgery under my arms in between the weeks of filming. And he said, hey, look, Peter and Wes said, we're going to put you on the poster, so we're going to give you $1 million of free advertising. And I says, how about we work on another way? You give me 100,000 and let him have it. Anyway, it was worth everything, because that was my third film, and it helped a lot for face and name recognition. The only time I worked on a project that I knew from day one it was going to be incredibly received was my second day as an actor, all the way through 127th day, and that was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So
of course,
we knew that would win Oscars. Aside from that, it's like Janus says, you just hope it gets distributed, and you hope overseas that they actually pay the royalties. That's why we have a union, and they protect us, and they still have to fight for every dime and penny. This is true.
What was your other question, Aaron?
Oh, what was your favorite memory from filming the film?
Well, go ahead,
Kind of
Janus.
an easy one.
What easy one? But for mine is the snake. I mean, I told them I don't touch worms. I'm not going to touch a snake. And they said, don't worry about it. We have an AD that grew up with snakes, and we'll put your bracelet on her wrist and we'll do an insert shot of her picking it up. And I went, great. But we were on location and I was so into Ruby. I just became her. And they said, Janice, will you pick it up? And I told Peter Locke, you pick it up, I'll pick it up. And so he went along, he touched it and went, I did it. So I said, okay, I'll do it. They put it on an apple box, beat it up with a stick, really a lot, to make it angry. They told me they sewed its mouth shut, so its tongue could still come out, but they milked it, they said, so it couldn't hurt me. And they wanted me to come up eye level to it and grab it by the back of the neck. And I went, oh, so I'm just about to do it. I'm just about to grab it. And this guy that they found in the bar, which I didn't know, with the most deadliest snake in the northern history of ours, can kill you instantly. I did not know. I'm just about to grab it, and the guy goes, stop, that's for professionals and she shouldn't do that. Oh, so they went and found a stick. You see in the movie, it has a fork on the end of it. So I forked the snake and then I picked him up. And that's what you see me do. But I took that snake and put it right on Mars' neck. Michael, couldn't I have killed him? I mean, what if it broke loose and it wasn't really dead? They told me it was dead, but that one was frozen. It was coming alive too. Not the one I picked up. That one was still alive, but the other one was frozen that I used on Mars. That could have killed him, right?
It could. The Mojave Green is a neuro and muscle toxin. It's as deadly as a cobra, and they're very cranky. Now, when we were having a lunch break one day, we're sitting in a gully, and I see people jumping up out of the way, like I go, maybe I should get out of the way quicker. And the snake had gotten out of this little cage the guy had to contain, and he was over by the craft service getting lunch. And he goes, oh shit. And then he ran out and got the snake. And that's when I approached him and I said, what are you doing with a Mojave Green? He goes, oh, it's a Mojave Green. I go, yeah, I live out here. It was just, safety is really, 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 really important. One of my fondest memories in Hills 1 is, it's probably, there's some funny moments, but one of my favorite, the scene with Susan in the trailer, it was our first scene together. And so Susan said, look, when the curtain is pulled, let's, like we're really heavily making out. And then when they pull the curtain apart to reveal, that's what we did. And so it kind of brought some levity, and we all had a good chuckle over that. That was kind of fun. I would say, working with the German Shepherd was delightful, because that was Brackett, that was the bionic dog, and the Decesos, Mo Deceso and his family are the ones that handled Gentle Ben, the bear, the Exxon Tiger, which I've worked with on Beastmaster. I knew Sheba very well. And also they brought the German Shepherd. Well, at night, it was cold, hot in the daytime. So my German Shepherd, Nishka, German Shepherd Wolf, she would stand in on his mark so he could set the camera and focus point. And she was, I know what I'm doing, boss. I mean, she really knew what she was doing. She wound up being one of my guard companions when I was a bodyguard, security guard at Bob Dylan's house for a couple of years. But I like working with animals. So my finest memory was working with a dog.
Yeah.
Dog.
Awesome. Yes.
I do want to mention before I take the next question, Aaron, because I just noticed on camera, I want to give a little plug as well. A and B, what do you got? The shirt you're wearing.
Oh, yes. So I am the co-host of A&B Horror Movies. We are on YouTube, and you can find us on Instagram at AB Horror Movies. And yeah, I'm wearing a shirt.
Yeah, figured I'd share the love as well.
Yes. Thank you, Jonathan.
so-
Appreciate
No
that.
problem. It's all about sharing the love. We got Michael's book, you got
course,
A and
yes.
B, we got Brian's history show. But
Thank
I
you.
Oh,
do
wait a
want
minute
to
here. I
bring
got
up.
my shirt
Yes. Where can we get your shirt, Janice? So,
on my fan page, Janus Blythe Scream Queen. I've got a store and you can buy photographs, and I've got some large and extra large left in my See Hills Have Eyes with Ruby on
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah. So I'm selling that too.
Autographs too? Pictures
yes,
of
she's
autographs?
got autographs.
All right, I will check it out. Very cool.
Janus Blythe
Nasty
Scream
Nick.
Queen.
Nasty Nick. What do you got,
Thank you.
buddy? Nick.
Nick's got the mute button pressed.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go.
There he is.
I was wondering, in part two, did Ruby die or did she, because she hit her head? I was wondering, did she die or no?
She will not die.
Okay.
Actually, they did have her dying in the original script, and I was on location, and I talked to Wes, and I said, "This is not my ego talking, but Ruby should not die like that. I mean,
Yeah.
not Ruby." And he said, "You're right. I've been meaning to rewrite that, and I'll rewrite that while we're here, and we'll shoot it differently." But they had a completion bond, and they had a deadline they had to meet, and he didn't have time. So he told me they had to go with what they had, and I said, "Okay, but I'm not going to die." So Ruby just passes out. You notice I did not. Peter Locke told me gurgle, roll my eyes, do some dying stuff, and I went, nope. So Ruby just passed out. She got unconscious, is what happened.
It's because I never knew everybody, did she die or no?
No,
It's
Ruby
one of my favorite
didn't
characters.
die.
Yeah. It's you're one of my favorite characters in the movie.
Well, thank you.
And also my
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. Mr. Young, I figured it'd be appropriate because I just knowing you. Would you like to, unless somebody else has a question between now and then? I know you probably have something else you'd like to bring up, sir.
Well, I do want to say it was Eastman film stock that Jaws was filmed on, and the colors saturated almost immediately on that film stock. So it was only used for like a year or two. That's what you were referencing earlier.
Yes.
But it was better than the nitrate film stock that was used up until like the 30s that would explode and start on fire and disintegrates. But the one question I've always wanted to ask, with Pluto, which by the way, Pluto is still a planet. I don't care what anybody says. Did the Disney Corporation give any pushback about the character named Pluto in the film?
No, I mean, we're all planetary. We're a planetary family, Papa Jupiter, Mars, Ruby.
What, was Ruby a planet?
No, Ruby's a gem.
I know.
Yes.
So I'm not a planet.
But you're still special.
Yes.
She's special. Back to your earlier question, fond memories. There are some very funny moments in Hills, the original. Like when the father meets up with Grandpa Fred and he goes, "So I took a tire iron and then I split his face wide open." And the father goes, "Well, how bad was it?" And I told Wes, I go, that makes me laugh. Maybe you should change that. And he goes, "No, it pauses you. What happens next? And I go, oh, never mind. You know, crash to the window, bum, bum, bum. Another funny moment is when Janus, who gets hit in the head with the prop rock? That was such a great hit. That was Morris, I think. And then when he falls down trying to get you, his wig almost comes off.
Oh, yes. He was in his
And
hair.
then another time when Beast has chewed up my ankle and I'm hopping along and I'm saying all that stuff with the funny bunny rabbit, and then he, gets my throat. You can see a line in the sand next time you watch it. That was my mark to make sure that's where I hit my mark. Yeah, just fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Oh, I remember Dee
Yeah.
Wallace saying, somebody asked us if it was cold, and she said it was freezing. And I said,
Oh.
I didn't feel any cold. And she said, you were half naked. How can you not be cold? And I said, I was just so Ruby. I didn't feel any elements. I was never cold or hot.
Because Ruby was so hot, she could never be cold.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Yeah,
you know
that's
what?
just-
I do
Put it up
have
on.
one more.
She's sizzling.
So
Well, I've got
Joshua,
a real quick comment. When I'm up watching and I tell the Papa Jupiter that easy pickings now, and we're supposed to make the attack. I have my knife, and he wanted me to take my knife and go scrape on a rock, just in anticipation of the movement for the attack. And I told Wes, no. His knife, which was half a sheep shear, actually would be deadly sharp at all times. To scrape it on a rock would dull it. And he goes, "I know, but go with what I'm trying to convey." And I said, "No, we can do something. We can do something else." So what I'm trying to say is that I was Pluto on the set, and Janus was Ruby. I mean, we really got into our characters.
right on. We will wrap the Q&A with Joshua because I want to be respectful of Michael's time. That's why we're doing this up front. Joshua, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm old.
And
Thank
I hope
you.
it's good.
I'm 74 years old.
But
Okay.
look great at 74.
I'll go to 100. What the hell?
Joshua, what do you got, buddy?
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so very much. And Miss Janus, it's good to talk to you. Mr. Berryman, it's great to see you again. Miss Janus, you and I have been we've been talking for a couple of weeks now about some pictures of Ruby I've been trying to work on for you.
Oh,
Um,
hello there. Yes.
Yeah, hey, it's hard to see me right now. I'm in Georgia and we're having a bit of a thunderstorm. So I actually just got off from work. I'm sitting in the car.
Oh.
I was like, I am not gonna miss this.
That's very cool.
No, yeah. But my question actually was for Mr. Berryman. I had met him a couple of years ago, and we were talking about the premiere of The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. And from what I can remember, he had told me a story that Wes had told him to go around and knock on people's cars and try to scare him or try to scare everybody. And I wondered if he could kind of reiterate that to us again.
Good memory, Joshua. Actually, it was actually Hills One. It was Hills One. We were in the San Fernando Valley, which is just north of LA. It's in the valley, and we're in the driveway.
Okay.
And so Wes and Peter and Barry said, "Hey, look, we'll have you dress up like Pluto, and we'll go to the drive-in." And I go, "Well, okay." I mean, I'm on the cover. I got the ad work. That's really groovy. So it's during the attack, about a third of the way through. And I'm banging on car windows. And it was kind of fun for a while. Now, there was this one car, and I bang on the hood and, scare. And there's a scream from the girl, and this big guy gets out of his car. And I said, this is a quote. "You scared my girlfriend. I am going to smash your brains into the pavement with this baseball bat, you so-and-so and so." And he starts running toward me. So I reached down in a defensive manner and grabbed my knife, which was the rubber knife, prop knife. And I go, "Well, I used to be a long distance runner in college and high school. So I just started trucking." And he's coming after me. I'm staying ahead of him. And in every car I look at, I see faces in the screen, watching the screen. I'm going, this guy ain't stopping. So I'm yelling for Wes and Peter. And pretty soon I see the van pull up and the headlights and the side door opens and Wes Craven's holding onto the seat with one hand and he reaches out with his other hand. And he goes, grab my hand. And I jump in, the guy flips us off. We go down the street. We don't say a word. We go to a diner on Ventura Boulevard. We sit down, nobody said a word. A waitress comes and brings us our water and menus. And then we look at each other and we go, what just happened? And Peter goes, I think we have a hit. That really happened.
Definitely had a hit.
I mean, you never know. Oh, and here's another little thing for promo. We were in Detroit, and Wes Craven, Peter Locke, and Barry Kahn said, Michael, you're going to dress like Pluto, and we're going to show how we rigged for gunshot wounds called squibs on a movie set. And we want to do it in Belle Isle, which is a park. This is Detroit in the 70s, and they called the mayor's office for permission. They go, are you crazy? I mean, I live in Michigan now in the country. He says, you can go there in broad daylight and catch a real homicide. You can't do that. So we did it on the rooftop of the Detroit Free Press newspaper. You just never know what's going to happen. The last little thing I want to say, just for fun, is we had to have a pickup shot where this is tough. They wanted me to stab the dog and gut it for that insert shot. Well, I'm an animal, I said, no, I'm not doing that. So in order to get a dog, what they did was they put some calls into somebody who worked in Long Beach and at the Humane Society, and a German Shepherd had drowned in the bay and they recovered it. So he drove in a van with no air conditioning all the way from Long Beach to Malibu at the beach. So it's sand. And so I'm laying down and well, actually I made Peter and Wes do the gutting. They had to pay me anyway. And so that was a real German Shepherd. And of course they were thrown off and they put trash bags over their heads and hands. Wow. And then I had to have the close up of the puppet head chewing with the blood on my neck. I'm laying in the sand. I'm going, this is a strange day at work. I'm laying on the sand and a puppet head is going to pretend to tear my throat open. And I'm looking up and I see a 10-foot tall 7-Up bottle. Then I see another one and they're kind of walking back and forth. And I sit up and I go, what's going on? A Canadian film TV company was doing a commercial. They were so happy in the fall to be in sunny Malibu instead of, in Canada working in the cold. You wind up in weird situations. I had one day I had to spend 4 hours in a coffin. They're very comfortable. Just strange things happen. And just a real quick, fun one. I did a Star Trek episode and I wanted to get home north of LA to where my girlfriend and her kids and I were living. And I had my makeup on, my Star Trek makeup. And in order to get them and pick them up at school and not on the bus, I had to go faster than maybe I should have because there was nobody on the road except the police officer in front of me. So I'm passing this police officer and he gives me a dirty look like, how dare you? And he sees this alien Martian face. And here's what I do. I go, I am late for my ship. And I do that twice. And I swear we're doing like 75 miles an hour. And I go, I'm either going to ticket going to jail or something. He closed his eyes, turned his head and just waved me on. So I floored it and then picked the kids up and we went shopping. We, got some stuff for dinner. So it's a crazy industry, but the best part about it is meeting wonderful friends for life, like Janus and other people that we've worked with, and it's a wonderful, wonderful industry. It should not be contrived, woked. You can't say certain words. That's why I took my memo over and did it myself, because I was told if I was talking about, for instance, when I did Deadly Blessings, a Wes Craven film, with Sharon Stone, I was talking about Sharon and I said, she's a great gal. And they go, oh, we don't use that word anymore. So I go, well, if that's how you're starting this conversation, then you know what? Give you my Webster dictionary. I found that it's, like 1,500 pages. I highly recommend a dictionary. instead of Wikipedia because words have meaning, and you should go camping and at midnight watch The Hills Have Eyes.
Well,
Thank you for
Michael,
that.
Michael, thank you for being able to pop on. The book is on Amazon and all. Will you have that at conventions as well when you're there?
There it is. That's what you'll see.
Michael,
what
do
I
you
did
have
on
that
this.
at conventions when you go?
It's all good. It's available on Amazon. Please support me in this effort. And I tell it straight from the heart, and it's a really, really good read. Janice, love you, dear. Everybody, it's online. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe and be kind to one another. Makes a
Yeah,
difference.
and talk to you soon when you're at that Jersey. So, sir, I'll be looking forward for another beer with you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, a good IPA.
I want
Yes,
to see you
Just
soon.
fine.
Hope to see you soon, Michael.
Love you, dear.
thank you, sir.
Bye, kids.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you, sir.
let me.
Hello, Janice. My name is Ray. I just wanted to let you know, very good acting, and I mean, what did you think about your role? What did you like about being your character?
That it was all physical. And I like the most important part to me was that Wes Craven always had a strong female heroine in his movies, you know, not some wimpy victim. And that's what I love about that Ruby's strong.
That's good.
Ray
Ruby's
is a
also-
fan.
Oh, can I just point out, Ruby's also the only character in the movie that maintains her humanity, because even the victims become savages. As you can see, where they're celebrating in the car about killing Jupiter, or when he's stabbing Mars, their
That's true.
humanity's gone. They're savages. The one character in the film that maintains humanity through the entire film is Ruby.
That's a great point. No one's ever pointed that out before. Thank you. That was my choice, you know.
It's brilliant.
But what I was going to point out there was Ray, as far as his fandom, and I could be wrong, so correct me, sir, has always been a fan of strong final women, whether it be the girls from, you know, say Friday the 13th, or a character like Ruby, or, you know, just you go through the list of, I know at least once he's watched with us. That's the vibe I've gotten from Ray.
True.
So
It was like the
Ray-
always cheering
Ray-
on the girls that are the strongest ones.
Well, Ray, there's a movie that I did that unfortunately didn't get the play because the writer, director, he got in a severe car accident, but it's called Soldier's Fortune, and I play 82nd Airborne. And again, I saved the girl. So it's a very strong role for me. And he wrote it with Sigourney Weaver in mind. So,
Nice.
and he said I played it perfectly. So that's something you can probably look up. Maybe you can watch it.
Okay, sounds good.
I have my gun. No
That's
snake.
cool.
And
I
Ray,
didn't
look
find it-
up the brilliant documentary that Janice was in, Invasion of the Scream Queens, is worth checking out too.
Okay,
Yes,
sounds
thank
good.
you.
I will.
And my fan page, I'm trying to post everything I've ever done. So if you go to Janus Blythe Scream Queen and just keep scrolling, you can watch episodes from TV and see photographs I've never posted before. So like with me and Bob Hope on a yacht for an ad, you know, I'm trying to put everything I've got into my trunk on my website.
Do we get to see any of your dancing?
Yes, I found the footage with me at the NBC Orchestra and Doc Severson.
Yes.
And I just converted it to DVD. Now I got to plug it in and put it on USB so I can put it on my website.
Excellent.
and I'll mention it here again, and I mentioned it in our episode with Janice when she mentioned Doc Severson. He was the longtime band leader for Johnny Carson's Tonight Show.
Yes, the NBC Orchestra. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I like, because I know a lot of
Very
our,
proud of that moment. You know,
yeah, a lot of the fan base
That
may
came
not
out of
be
a
familiar with
commercial.
that name, so.
that's true. That came out of a commercial I did with Norm Crosby, the comedian, a natural light commercial. That commercial played during a Super Bowl. And from that commercial, they asked me to represent Anheuser-Busch at their convention called Command Performance. So I have that on now on DVD, and I will get it on my site soon.
Does anybody else have any questions for our guest of honor?
I don't have a question, but a comment that
Go for it, sir.
you are indeed an icon. If Michael just pointed that out to you and you didn't realize it before, you are an icon, and we all love you. And it's just, this is a thrill of a lifetime being able to talk to you tonight. And I am so thrilled, and I hope we get to meet in person someday.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
And I'm playing the.
Well said.
I'm
That
not
was
going to put
awesome.
any. I'm not going to put any pressure here, but and I will publicly say it since this part will be part of the Q&A and stuff that gets released publicly. I'm hoping Janus will be able to do Brian's show and maybe even Aaron's at some point.
Oh my
If
God,
I
I
could
would
be a
love to
point-
have you on my show. That would be amazing.
If I
Yeah.
could be the point, if I could be the point person to make this work, we will make it work. So
Oh, let me say one
I-
last thing too. It's up to the fans to write the promoters of conventions to request me, and like in Cinema Wasteland, and that's how I got to be invited there. The fans write the promoters in your local convention. They listen, and then they will invite me, and then we can all meet in person.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so everybody get your friends and everybody to write the promoters, and we'll get it done.
Yes, come to Massachusetts. The Silver
talking
Scream,
about.
the
Yes.
Silver Scream convention is big.
Okay, well, you got to write the promoters because I can't do anything about that. You guys have to do it for me.
And Buffalo, just not in the winter. You don't want to come here
And
in
Buffalo.
the winter.
Yes, you don't
No.
want to go to Buffalo in the winter. No.
Yeah, I'm going to Canada or any place else. Cold
Probably not
winter.
Massachusetts either, but yes.
Can I ask, are
Tom,
New Jersey HorrorCon and Michael Berryman's going to be there in 2 weeks?
Ah,
Can you make it to New Jersey in 2 weeks? Maybe I could ask the guy to send you an invite.
well, if you get enough people to pound on his head right now, it's kind of a short. They really book these things far in advance, but I'll go if they invite me.
Oh, all right, I'll see. I'll send him an email and see if he'll do it. I did a quick question about the Well, I guess first of all, in the movie, like the prayer thing is always an important question for me because it's I'm not saying it's out of place, but it's highlighted, and the reactions to it in the movie are pretty interesting. If I'm
But
correct
I'm not in that scene, so I can't make any comment on that.
on the script, but did he ever bring up? I know Wes Craven at one point. I think he was in seminary. Was that correct? Did he ever talk about that?
No, no. We stuck when we're on location. We stick to what we're doing.
Okay.
But I think we should call it quits for now. I'm hungry.
Okay.
That has-
so it's Janus Blythe, Screen Queen link. I will post that on social media as well. Thank you, everybody. Aaron, I
Thank
will
you.
be in touch with about the gift card, and just thank you, everybody,
Awesome.
and have a good night.
Good night, and thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jonathan. This was awesome. Bye,
You're
everyone.
welcome.
Bye.